Hello and welcome back to A Witchful Journey. I'm April, and today I want to talk about Psy-Energy and Amethyst. But this isn't a normal episode. I also have an announcement for you guys, which, if you follow me on social media, you may already know. This is going to be my last podcast episode for a month or so. I'm doing a huge makeover of the podcast. I've been doing this for over a year now, and I feel like it's time for a makeover. Don't worry, I'll keep you updated on what's going on through the socials, and my hope is that I can make this as smooth of a transition as I can for all of us. So, what will be new? Everything. I'm shifting the name to This Average Witch because I feel like even though witchcraft and spirituality are definitely still very much a journey, I'm still just an average witch who decided to start a podcast. And I want the name of the podcast to reflect that. I feel like it will also allow me to share more topics with you because it's less confining, if that makes sense. The logo that you guys are used to seeing will change as well to go along with the name shift. If you check out my socials, you'll get a peek at how that's going to look so that you can recognize it when I resume podcast episodes. I'm also doing away with custom episode covers. This will help free up some of my time so I can redirect it to something more beneficial for you. You've probably noticed that throughout the previous episodes, I've been playing around with background music and all that sort of thing. I still haven't found something that I'm absolutely in love with in terms of music, so part of the reason I'll be taking a bit of a hiatus is because I'm also giving the music a glow up. It'll be composed and performed by yours truly, and that means that there won't be any of that auto-generated bullshitaki ever again. We're going from caterpillar to butterfly, in a sense. But you'll still be able to find me on all the usual socials and the podcast streaming platforms that I've been on this whole time. They'll just be changed to the new name. But I'm also adding Substack to that list. Along with episodes, you'll be able to access additional content and goodies there via a subscription to This Average Witch. Once I have them up and running, followers to the socials will be the first to know about it. So if you aren't already following me on any of the socials, but you've been listening, go follow so you don't end up missing anything. Now that that's out of the way, let's move on to a tarot reading for the week ahead. Today, we're using the 88 Gemstones deck. And today, we have the High Priestess reversed and the 9 of Wands reversed. The combination of these cards suggests that someone is ignoring their intuition or has disconnected from their intuition out of fear of taking a risk. Someone's becoming distrustful of a person or a process because something previously has put a bad taste in your mouth. You're also feeling a bit burned out, but you're afraid to change what you've been doing because there's a risk involved with that. Maybe it's opinions from others that you're putting too much stock into? Afraid that going against their opinion will end badly, even if it means ignoring what your gut's telling you? Take a break. Take a step back. Feel into what you need in order to keep growing, and file away what anyone else says about it. Right now, you need rest, and to look within to get yourself back on track. In today's world, a lot of people see taking a break or resting as bad because it means you're lazy or you give up easily. That's not the case here. You've been powering along for a while now, and you don't need someone else's permission to let up on the gas. That may sound scary, but I can tell you one thing from experience. If you let yourself continue, as you have been, and ignore what your inner wisdom is telling you, the effects can last a long time. Burnout, for example, pushing yourself through the burnout when you're getting signs that you need to slow down and take a breather, is only going to cause the burnout to dig itself deeper. You've reached the point where pushing through is going to turn harmful, either for you, your work quality, a relationship, or whatever it is. You're at critical mass, and these cards are the flashing red light that says it's time to take time for yourself. Go bask in the sun. Go read a book. Go rest. Go reset. May whoever needs to hear that find their way to this podcast. Now, let's get into psi energy. If you aren't familiar with it, or only recognize the term but don't really know what it's about, we're going to start from the beginning. The term psi energy, psi being spelled PSI, is short for psychic energy. There's a lot of debate about what it actually is, but the term psi is also used as the shortened word for psionics. Psi, as in psionics, is generally used in the science fiction community because it appeared in a magazine in a July 1951 issue of Astounding Science Fiction, in a novella called The Greatest Invention. That's when a lot of people say it was coined, because that's when it was presented to a wide audience. However, a psychologist named Robert Thaulis claims that he and a colleague of his, Bertold Weisner, began using the term psi in 1942 to provide a more neutral term to ESP, or extrasensory perception. They chose psi because it's the 23rd letter of the Greek alphabet, and it's the first letter in the word psyche, when spelled in Greek letters. Psyche means mind or soul. If we really want to water it down, psychic energy can be seen simply as physical energy in the brain. If we were to ask Freud, he'd say that psychic energy is basically the mental force that drives our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. But to me, as I'm sure many of you might agree, it's much more than that. Mental energy or mind energy is just the surface of it. Those terms don't fully encompass what that energy truly is, right? The scientific community tends to try to separate physical energy and psychic energy. Granted, physical energy is measurable. It has a clear mathematical definition. We can measure it with tools that are designed to calculate that energy. Whereas psychic energy can't be measured in a precise way. It's more of a felt experience, rather than one that can be proven using tools. Or at least any tools or machines that have been invented that we know of. You might be thinking, well, if it's energy, then there should be a way to measure it somehow. And we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's talk a little bit about energy. Now, we're all aware that energy isn't something that can be created or destroyed, right? It can be altered, manipulated, transformed, contained, and allowed to flow, but never created or destroyed. All energy in and of itself is neutral, until something comes along to cause some kind of shift. Now let's take that information with us to 1973 and explore a declassified CIA document, declassified as of 2000, that has been translated from Russian to English, called Certain Problems in Biological Electrodynamics and Psychoenergetics. In this document, Senior Scientific Associate of the USSR Moscow, Viktor Adamenko, mentions a 1966 event where an electric field was detected between a patient and a healer, and he says that such an energy field couldn't be recreated by using any current scientific methods. He goes on to say that energy fields like the one in 1966 must have some kind of corresponding form of energy, quote unquote. But since it can't be reduced to another form of energy, they'll need to determine an equivalent that can help to measure the magnitude of psychic energy. He suggests using electrical energy because of how psychic energy appears to manifest in the 1966 event. Now let's fast forward a bit to 1977 and take a look at an article from the March 1977 edition of Yoga magazine. The magazine mentions that Czech scientist and parapsychologist Dr. Zdeněk Radek, apologies if I pronounced that incorrectly. Anyway, Radek was considered one of the leading researchers into parapsychology at the time. Dr. Radek established that psi events are genuine happenings under certain circumstances, meaning some claims to experiencing a psi event are false, whether it's from someone lying for attention or if it's truly perceived as an experience but is actually the result of other, more explainable factors. Dr. Radek claims that there's been a shift from does psi energy even exist to how does psi energy exist and how does it work. Many investigators at the time were coming to the conclusion that psi phenomena are mainly energy interactions or manipulations of energy. They determined that the energy involved is not something that's present and recognized within the framework of current scientific studies of the time, and that the energy involved is possibly some type of cousin of electrical or electromagnetic energy fields. They came to the conclusion that it's likely biologically based. The research behind this conclusion came mainly from then Soviet Dr. Gennady Sergeyev, who found that during testing on a woman named Nelia Mikhailova, her brainwaves, heartbeat, and pulse rate changed during her demonstrations of psi phenomena. In her case, it was telekinesis. And yeah, I know that sounds crazy if you aren't familiar with this part of history, but yes, there were plenty of researchers and scientists around the world that were, and still are, looking into psychic energy manipulation in all its forms. Anyway, immediately following longer stretches of Nelia's demonstrations, she would be physically exhausted. Now, from my own experience, not with telekinesis, but just with using that psychic energy in general within my practices of the craft, I've definitely experienced exhaustion and headaches after extended periods of use. Back to the contents of the yoga magazine, though. Other investigators found that the same kind of brainwave change happened during use within their own research here in the US. They also found that chemical activity within the nervous system changed during use of psi energy as well. And all of this suggests that psi energy is a whole body energy that is linked to the mind and physical energies, but that it's not quite the same. And I absolutely have to say that I agree with that. I don't think physical energy, mental energy, and psychic energy are all separate and independent of one another. While psychic energy doesn't obey the same basic laws that physical energy does, it's certainly linked to it in some fashion. And from everything that I've read on this subject, I don't think that you can have psychic energy without physical energy. The physical body is just the visible end of the spectrum of energies that make up an organism. And when I say physical body in this sense, I'm talking about all physical bodies. Humans, animals, plants, the earth are all physical bodies that are more than just the visible end of the spectrum, if that makes any sense. The magazine article goes on to point out that when you look at Hindu, yogic, and tantric practices, you see that there's this concept of different energy bodies within one being. For example, the prana shakti is the life force, the vital energy, the primordial energy. It's what governs all of the functions and powers all of the Vedas. It's the inner fire, or the inner core, the self. Whereas the pranamaya kosha is the energy body that is similar to what we know as the astral body or the etheric body. It's seen as your aura when people talk about seeing the color of your aura. And it's also where much of the psychic energy resides. Another declassified document from the CIA that you can find on the Black Vault's website. Some of it was declassified in 2002, and some of it in 2018. It's dated for January of 1976, and it mentions Adamenko and Sergeyev, where American scientists are recognizing that it's possible that psychic communication can happen via the use of different brainwaves, and goes on to review the work done by both Russian and Czech scientists to determine veracity and potential for furthering those studies. One more interesting read for my fellow nerds and rabbit hole explorers is a paper written by Professor Jessica Utz. Utz? It's spelled U-T-T-S, which was approved for release by the CIA in 2000. And her paper is called An Assessment of the Evidence for Psychic Functioning. Now, there's a ton more info and material and all that jazz, but the thing right now is that psi energy, or psychic energy, is still a mystery to us. Science is no closer to revealing the truths about what exactly psychic energy is and how exactly it works. All that we do know is that it operates outside of our perception of space and time, and it's not affected by the laws of physics, or the laws of gravity, or the laws of thermodynamics. But the Ganzfeld stimulation experiments, which has origins in the 1930s, but the ones I'm referring to, the ones that test for psychic energy, or ESP, were done in the early 1970s. Those experiments showed that alpha brainwaves, specifically, are more conducive to psi energy, waves between 8 and 12 hertz. And if you've studied frequencies and brainwaves for your craft, or just for meditation purposes, then you know that those brainwaves represent the state of wakeful relaxation. It's when you're calm and relaxed, maybe even meditating. Though deep meditation is something different, and those meditations drop into the theta waves. There's a reason that everyone always says it's so important to meditate before any kind of spell work or ritual or whatever else within your craft. Because there's truth to it. Now, I know I've been calling it psi energy or psychic energy this whole time, but it does have other names. Consciousness, the subconscious, the unconscious, energy manipulation, vibes, chi, prana, life force, universal energy, spiritual energy, orenda, ashe, mana, heka, just to name a few. I said earlier that I've experienced an exhaustion after using this type of energy for extended periods of time. It was so much so that I needed to take a nap afterward. If you've ever read that you should be well rested, hydrated, and fed before working on a big or complex spell or ritual, there's a large amount of truth to that. As I said before, I'm one of the believers in this psi energy being linked to our physical energy in a way. And when we use it, it also uses some of the energy that we have stored in our bodies that are powered by food and rest and drink. There's a way to get around that for the most part, though, and that's by calling up that same psi energy from the Earth, or the universe, which is why others refer to it by other names. And in the exercise I'm about to share with you, that's exactly what we're going to do. Have you ever heard of a psi energy ball? Or maybe a chi energy ball? This is something that I've been practicing with since my mid-teens. with a stretch of time in adulthood where I didn't intentionally use it for a while. I've got to a point where I can carry on a conversation with someone and build that energy ball at the same time. I want to share this exercise with you because, along with meditation and grounding, it's at the core of how we're able to successfully work within the craft. Whether you call it magic, manifestation, witchcraft, sorcery, mojo, juju, the craft, the art, co-creation, or even prayer, we're all using the same type of energy. So let's get to it, shall we? So, a Psi energy ball or Chi energy ball is basically a ball of energy that you collect, shape, control, and program. Some practices also just simply call this a ball energy exercise. We're going to focus first on collecting. I'm avoiding using the term creating because, remember, energy can't be created or destroyed. And what we're really doing is collecting the energy and then forming a ball out of it. And once you get used to doing this, you can collect and form at the same time. Or even collect, form, collect some more while you're holding what you already have, and then adding to it. But like I said, we're first going to focus on collecting. I should note right now that it can take a lot of practice to do this if it's not something that you're familiar with. Don't be surprised or disheartened if it doesn't work the first time, or even the second time, or even the third time. It'll likely take a decent amount of practice. So, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed for a while. Take 5 to 10 minutes to get into a comfortable seated position and get into that calm, relaxed, alpha brainwave state. You can stand if you prefer, but I've found that when first learning how to do this, sitting makes it a little easier. And if you're trying this out right now, you can pause here and get into that state and then hit play again when you're ready to continue. Close your eyes and bring your hands in front of you, palms facing each other as if you're holding a basketball. Keeping your body relaxed, begin sending energy from your solar plexus, which is just below the sternum, up to your collarbones, and then out to your shoulders, and down through your arms to your palms. Visualize it. Feel it. Once it reaches your palms, send it out through your palms to the center of the space between your hands. Try to keep an even flow of this energy from your solar plexus to the center where you're collecting that energy. Visualize or sense, if you can, the energy gathering together there, allowing the ball of energy to grow as you continue to send a steady flow. You might begin to feel a slight heat, or a tingling, or a slight pressure against your palms. Most often, it's the feeling of slight pressure, almost like the first bit of resistance that you feel when you try to bring two of the same poles of a magnet together. Now try holding that ball of energy and visualizing pulling more energy up from the ground, like roots pulling nutrients and water from the soil. Allow it to flow through you, to your palms and out into the ball of energy. When you're ready, and have gotten the hang of collecting the energy into a ball, try expanding and contracting it. Get familiar with the feeling of that magnetic-like force as you manipulate it into a smaller or a bigger ball of energy. Play around with it. See if you can manipulate its shape with your mind. Try out making it as dense as you can. This part may take time to develop and get a good handle on. At first, you might feel like you keep dropping it, or it accidentally disperses, and that's fine. While you're practicing collecting and forming these energy balls, and playing around with them a bit, expanding, contracting, shaping. It's fine to just use your own energy. Without it being programmed, you can just slowly release the energy ball into the air and it'll disperse. But once you start programming them for a purpose or giving them a task, then it's better to pull energy from the earth, up through your body like we just tried, or from the universe, like a beam coming down from the sky into the top of your head. The energy from the earth or the universe is much more than we can carry within ourselves on a regular basis, which means it's perfect for using when spellcasting. Another difference when you start programming them is at the start, when forming a shape with the energy. You'll want to form a hollow ball of energy. That in itself may take some time to get the hang of. Some people call this shelling or shielding the ball, which is basically forming a shield or a shell so that when you send it off, it doesn't instantly disperse. Start with programming the ball with small, simple tasks. To send love energy to someone, or healing energy, or to sprout a stubborn seed that seems to be taking too long. Don't give it any complex tasks, or multiple tasks, especially at first. If you can, program it with something that you can get confirmation on. To start off with, maybe get someone's attention by tapping them on the shoulder. Not you physically, but program the energy ball to tap them on the shoulder. To do this, you can make a small hole in the shell or shield of the energy ball and fill the ball completely with the intention or the purpose or the task that you have for it. For example, tap, insert person's name, on the shoulder. You can visualize pouring that intention into the ball, or visualize it as threads, similar to Dumbledore transferring his memories into the pensieve, and then seal it back up again and send it on its way. A small note on the energy ball, sometimes it won't work, and it could be for any number of reasons. Maybe you weren't clear enough about your intention, or the shell wasn't complete, or you gave it a task that was too complex, or the target has some kind of protections around them that prevent the energy ball from doing the job that you gave it. The more you work with it, the less likely it is to happen, but it's still going to happen sometimes, even if you've been doing this for years. If you gave the energy ball exercise a try, tell me about it. I'd love to hear about your experience with it, if you've ever tried it before, if you could feel the energy, all of that. But I do want to move on to quite possibly the most popular crystal, since we're getting pretty far into today's episode, Amethyst. One of the most popular and well-known crystals, even if you aren't into crystals. Just about everyone knows what amethyst is, and probably has a tumbled piece of it somewhere in their home. It's a beautiful purple quartz, and its name comes from the Greek word amethystos, meaning not intoxicated, due to the belief that drinking wine from a carved amethyst goblet would help prevent one from getting drunk. It's been known to have been worn and used for its properties dating all the way back to 320 BCE. Some of the wealthier indulgers of drink would even sprinkle powdered amethyst into their wine in order to avoid intoxication. A note on that though, I do not recommend putting powdered amethyst into anything that you drink. The purpose of this information is just to give you some background on the crystal. But at any rate, in the 1st century CE, Pliny the Elder argued that the mystical powers of countering the effects of alcohol were false. And I'd have to say he was probably right about that, despite the fact that the belief continued on for a number of centuries after. Amethyst is also the birthstone for February, which gives it some of the love and romance properties that some people may associate with it. In the Middle Ages, amethyst became associated with royalty, as it has historically been considered to be ranked alongside diamonds, rubies, sapphires, and emeralds as a precious gemstone. One of the reasons that a rich purple is often associated with royalty now, despite the fact that in the 18th century, a large deposit of amethyst was found in Brazil, and amethyst is now much more widely accessible and has lost much of its value, as other deposits of amethyst continue to be found around the world. There have been amethyst specimens that are as tall as a building, and those sell for way more than a pretty penny. Sometimes amethyst gets heated to between 300 and 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And when this happens, the chemical makeup of the amethyst changes and turns the stone to a rather bright yellow-orange or a yellow-brown, and it gets sold as citrine. Side note, true citrine only takes up about 10% of the crystal market, so if you purchase citrine, it's likely that it's either naturally or intentionally heated amethyst. Medieval European soldiers would wear amethyst amulets into battle because they believed that amethyst had healing and calming properties. And in Tibet, it's believed to be a stone that's sacred to Buddha, so prayer beads are made from it. And then in the 16th century, a French poet, who was inspired by the connection between sobriety and amethyst, invented the myth, or maybe he just wanted to write a poem about a precious stone, wherein the Roman god Bacchus, god of intoxication and wine, had such a desire for a maiden named Amethystus that she prayed to the gods for help, as she had refused Bacchus's advances and wanted to remain chaste. The Roman goddess Diana answered Amethystus's prayers and transformed her into a large quartz to protect her. Humbled and denouncing his actions, Bacchus poured wine over her crystal form as an offering, forever staining the stone purple. That's one version that were offered. Another is that Amethystus was on her way to the temple of Diana to worship, and came across the god Bacchus, who was angry because of a previous encounter and had vowed to kill the next person that he met. When he saw Amethystus, he sent his hounds after her. The goddess Diana intervened and turned Amethystus into a large clear quartz to protect her from a gruesome fate. Bacchus was immediately remorseful, and to atone for his actions, he poured wine over the crystal, which forever stained it purple. Amethyst is one of those stones that offers a wide range of associations due to its long history with humanity. Early Christians connected amethyst with Jesus Christ, and later religious scholars believed that the hues represented the blood of Christ, and over time, that association changed to using the stone for healing wounds, like we saw in medieval Europe. Other associations include peace, tranquility, dreams, calming, soothing, breaking addictions, psychic abilities, sleep, protection, clairvoyance, anxiety relief, spiritual awakening, mental focus, clarity, accessing wisdom from the divine. Many spiritual practitioners use amethyst during meditation, and some diviners keep amethyst with their tarot cards or runes to enhance clarity during a reading. Traditionally, it's ruled by the planet Jupiter because of its connection to wisdom and expansion. But more modern times add Saturn and Neptune as additional rulers of the stone because it represents the bridge between the structured discipline of Saturn and the higher spiritual consciousness of Neptune. And because of all of these associations, it naturally is also associated with the third eye and crown chakras. It's a wonderful stone to use for mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual healing because it doesn't force healing, and it doesn't force protection. It allows you to soften so that you can heal, and allows protection in the way that it carries, without throwing up defense walls. I use amethyst in my practice when I'm meditating, and sometimes carry it with me when I feel like I need to take a softer approach than my normal. Thanks so much for tuning in and hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, and don't want to miss out on future episodes, hit those like and follow buttons. Especially if you don't want to miss the reemergence. Like I said earlier, episode releases will be taking a break for a bit while I work on transforming this caterpillar into a butterfly. This isn't goodbye. It's just, I'll see you on the flip side.